Hi everybody, time for another midweek chat. It's July 7th, the heart of summer. It's the most expensive midweek chat we've ever produced because this is a Big Falls County Park east of Eau Claire. And I had to pay $5 to park my car in the parking lot, so it's better be worth it, huh? Anyway, yeah, I had a burial today. We had a funeral at St. James today for Gary Strevler, and the burial was out at the Catholic Cemetery in town, Calvary, on the southeast side of town. So I thought, well, while I was over here, where could I go since I'm out in my car for the chat? And I thought, I'd never been here before. Never been to Big Falls. People talk about it. I have to say, I'll bet you that what you're looking at doesn't capture. When I turn around and look at that, that's really nice. And that's really kind of perched up on a high rock here, and looks really good. So I hope you get just even a fraction of that beauty. Gosh, what should we say? Couple things. I always like to give some parish updates. So one more week of Bible buddies. Beth and Kelly were out there today. Drizzly morning, and but they did it. And there's one more week, and then that's over for our younger kids. And we have some of our teens getting their service hours, helping out with that. But it's been great. Summerfest news. So it's Summerfest the weekend of August 14th, 15th. I think parishioners have gotten their raffle tickets already. Hope you have. We have a lot more. We had initial shortage of raffle tickets. Now we have an abundance of raffle tickets. So if anybody wants any more raffle tickets, come to the office. We got them for you. There's some neat things that are going on. I just found out, I kind of like games, I was frustrated. The Bucks lost last night, game 1 of the finals, but hopefully they'll come back. But it's more fun to play them than watch them, right? So one of the Summerfest things is beanbag tournament. I guess they call them cornhole, but I always call them beanbags. And you need a partner, or if you don't have a partner and you want to play, that would be like me. Maybe I can talk a friend with great motor skills, because you want to win if you enter. No, you shouldn't have to want to win, just to be part of it. It's a joy, right? So anyway, we're gonna have this beanbag tournament as part of it, and it's $20 per team to register, and it's gonna be fun. It'll be on the weekend. You can sign up and register for it now. I think it's through our parish website, stjameseauclair.org. Saint is just stjameseauclair.org, and you see all kinds of nice links there. So that's one thing. Silent auction is going to start up. We're accepting donations. I think they're looking for kind of newer things, kind of mint condition things of some value, because the auction is going to be online, and I guess they say it's easier to kind of move merchandise that's higher quality with online auctions. I don't think they're going to do the theme baskets that they had in the past, so that whole thing. But I'm sure it'll come back, post-COVID. Chicken dinner, winter chicken dinner. It's we're going to have that. It's going to be a takeout situation, so it won't be the big. But you can eat inside, but it won't be like a kind of service and packed on it. Or you can eat outside. So that's coming up. I'm trying to think what else they told me about. Pleas for volunteers to help with Summerfest will be coming out soon, but I don't think they're quite out yet. So anyway, there's a lot of chatter about Summerfest coming up. So that's good. So Connie Bushman and Randy McVinney are common sights around the office these days when they meet with Christine to do their strategizing and planning for Summerfest. So we thank them for their time and ingenuity and effort. Hey, Pope Francis, someone said, hey, didn't you know Pope Francis was in surgery on Sunday because you didn't make any prayers for him? And I guess I didn't. I don't know if I found out Sunday. I don't think anyone knew Sunday, didn't he? Oh, maybe because of the time change. I think he gave his Sunday address, and he didn't even allude to the fact that in a couple hours he'd be in surgery. So he's at that Gemelli Hospital in the Vatican, and I think he had surgery Sunday afternoon he had like a narrowing, kind of a diverticulitis kind of thing, a narrowing of his intestines. So I believe they cut out some of his intestines. and I heard he's eating normally now, and not normally, but he's eating, and he's doing well. He's walking, so that's really great news. He brings a lot of hope and a lot of joy to a lot of people in the world. So we pray for our Pope as he recovers from that surgery. Speaking of international stuff, I have a friend. I guess he was more. Well, I like to think he's a friend. He's got a zillion friends, if I'm a friend. But he was the director of my sabbatical program. His name's Frédéric Masson. And he's actually the husband of Stephanie Saldana, whose book we're reading for book club next week. But anyway, he directed my sabbatical program. And just a great spirit. I wish I had some quotes or something I could share with you. But I mean, just really, I don't know what to say. He's just always not in an over pious in a way that would ever turn you off. But Christ is never far from his mind and his heart, you know. And he arranged so many great opportunities for us to see the Holy Land, to see Jerusalem and different parts. He was with us a whole week up around the Sea of Galilee. And anyway, he's being ordained a priest this weekend. He's in he's going to be assigned a parish in Bethlehem. So I hope when I go back to the Holy Land on trips, I can knock on his door and say, "Hey, Frédéric." He's in a. You say, well, he said he had a wife. Yeah. So he has a wife and he has 3 kids. He's going to be ordained a priest because he's in the Syriac Catholic Church. So it's in union with the Pope, but it's called an Eastern Rite. And some of those Eastern Rite churches, the clergy can marry, you know, and he's in one of those churches. So he gets ordained Saturday, so I just wanted to do a little shout out to him. I don't believe he watches these chats, but anyway, it's kind of exciting for me that I'll have another friend in Bethlehem. I got to find out where that church is. I heard that it's near the Church of the Nativity on the main drag, which would be Manger Street. But I just can't find it on a map. I Google Syrian Catholic Church in Bethlehem and nothing comes up. But it's really, it's beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been to like an Orthodox Christian liturgy or Eastern Rite liturgy, but there's a lot of chanting. It's the church in our church that uses Aramaic as their liturgical language. You know, like the Catholic Church used to use Latin and vernacular. The Syrian Church uses Aramaic, which is the spoken language of Jesus. So that's kind of a unique, beautiful thing about the Syriac Catholic Church. Speaking of Bethlehem, back to things maybe more practical for... they arrived. Here it is. Can you believe it? It is our... Remember the promised... You know what's in here, don't you? Give you a clue. This sheath that I'm untying right now, it's made from Bethlehem sheep from the Holy Land. Oh, let's see if I can get this out. Oh, there's a little... Okay. I've been waiting for this for... Oh, no. I don't want it. Oh, boy. Should I open another one? Let me open another one. That one's in there. Let's see. I'm not sure if these are meant to be taken. Oh, this one I got out earlier, so this one... Okay. So this is a small size. Da-da-da-da. Olive oil from Bethlehem. See the Arabic script, and it says Palestinian olive oil. So this is one of the smaller bottles. It's in glass. The medium size is in glass. So this is a quarter of a liter, 250 milliliters. This is a half a liter, 500 milliliters. And this baby's a liter. Okay. And I have an email out to Rania in Bethlehem, who works at the L'Arche community, to how much this all costs. I know how much they cost, the bottle, but shipping these things was very expensive, you know. So we had 5 boxes of olive oil. And anyway, so I'll be selling them. I think, just to kind of chip away at the shipping cost and all. So you should know that these are made, it's bottled in the Holy Land. It's bottled in the West Bank around Bethlehem. If it's anything like the olive oil that I dipped my bread into when I lived outside of Bethlehem, it's just very rich and very delicious. It has a please use by February 2022 on the label, so there's plenty of shelf life in this. So anyway, what was I going to say about it? Oh, but the sheaths that they're in here, this part, the wool, you might recognize it from the Christmas craft. So this wool was shorn from Bethlehem sheep, right? Ancestors of the sheep that breathed on the child Jesus at his birth. And then what's really beautiful, there's a community called the Parish community, and it's people with intellectual disabilities working alongside those without those disabilities. And they make the sheaths. They take the wool, it comes through a felting machine, goes through a felting machine. Then they rub it on these like car mats with olive oil soap until it gets nice and compact. So there we go. That's what this is. So it's from Bethlehem. This is made, and they just haven't had any income. They usually sell a lot of Christmas crafts, and because the tourists aren't coming and they're really struggling to keep their operation afloat. It's such a beautiful community, and I really wanted to do what I could to try to help make it work. So we're going to sell these. I think more or less, I got an email. How much did this cost you guys to send us? Because we don't want you to lose money on this, you know. So I think, yeah, you can buy olive oil cheaper at the grocery store, but this is a pretty unique item. So I think the large ones will be like $40. The half size will be like $30, and the small size will be like $20. And also, I have a few of these. They were selling these too, and so it's got an ornament made by those Parish community people, right? Working the Bethlehem wool. And then on the four things, there's holy oil, holy water, holy earth, and holy incense, all gathered from the Holy Land, right? And so I don't know if people would like these or not. I didn't order a whole bunch. If they sell quickly for us, then I'll order a whole bunch more for Christmas. I'll probably make another order from this place. We can sell Christmas ornaments again this year, and nativity sets made out of wool. Anyway, I don't mean to make this a big commercial, but based on what happened last year, I think people really want to support this and think it's kind of neat. I had a lot of interest in the olive oil already. Wanted to let people know that it came. These will probably be like $25. This little kit for oil. So, okay, and I got about 10 or 12 of these. I wasn't sure. I thought this might be something people would like if they'd been there and to remember. I didn't know if they'd be, but the people that I've shown them to, they said, "Oh, that's great. I want one of those." So, okay, so that's kind of neat. So our connection to the people of the Holy Land, and our connection to people with intellectual disabilities, our solidarity with them, we can express through cooking with their olive oil, dipping our bread into it. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, I don't have my notes on this, so I don't want to go too on and on, but a couple of weeks ago, when I was at the on the North Shore Lake Superior, I talked about loneliness versus solitude, and I think I have every Henry Nouwen book on my shelf, except the one that talks about from loneliness to solitude. That's a book called Reaching Out. I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. Maybe we'll do that as our next book club book. I don't know. But anyway, I got it on ebook so I could read it right away, and I started reading it, and it's just beautiful stuff. He talks about the whole book, Reaching Out. He says there's three movements as we mature as spiritual people, believers in God. And he said the one is making peace with ourselves. And that's that movement from loneliness to solitude. And he said the second thing is making peace with others. And he calls that the movement from hostility to hospitality. Which I didn't read that about, but you can kind of see, are we just kind of everybody for their own and we're just in a competitive situation? Or hospitality is like making room in our hearts for others, and accepting the hospitality of others who've made room for us in their hearts. And then so making peace in ourselves, making peace with others, and then making peace with God. And the making peace with God, I think it was something like from suspicion to prayer. I know the last one was prayer. And it had to do, can I really trust God? Can I really believe that God loves me? And moving through those questions, but trusting prayer. Anyway, so I thought that's kind of a neat way to structure a book, But this loneliness to solitude, I read it years ago, and I think it's just so beautiful and so important. He says that everybody has to fight through loneliness. I don't know. I know a lot of people, and they got families. They're consumed with their families as they should be. I'm not saying. But I don't look at them and say, "Oh, they're lonely people." maybe there's a degree of loneliness. Sometimes they say if your marriage is not particularly happy, you can, sleep with another person, but you're still lonely, and so, I want to be sympathetic and sensitive to that. But I do think there's different degrees of loneliness that people suffer with, and but Henry Nouwen would say everybody has to confront their loneliness, that they're ultimately, as important as relationship and love is, they have to confront their own inner selves and come to peace with it. And, he says things, I guess, that I've heard over the years and kind of psychology shows and things that, if you get married or if you get a friend just because you're trying to fill a hole because you are lonely, maybe whether or not you admit it to yourself, you're kind of lonely and you just want to reach out and fill that hole in your life by the attention of someone else or the affection of someone else. That's coming out of loneliness, and it's hard really to love freely out of that state, because you're basically, maybe it sounds bad, it's not like you're being malicious, but you're basically using someone else to fill your loneliness. Think of Bob Seger in Night Moves. I use her, she used me, neither one cared. We're just, maybe, that's one cynical way to look at life. We're all just using each other to fill our emptiness. But, I certainly think that the Christian way is to recognize ourselves as beloved children of God, strong on our own, and then we donate ourselves to others. We give ourselves away to others. Can we really love another person fully if underneath it all we're just trying to soothe our loneliness by being with them, And so it's really a very spiritual issue, I think. Moving from loneliness, that kind of clinging state where we're trying to fill a void, and what Nouwen would call solitude, holy solitude. Where we can be fully present to another person and love them freely, because it's not like we are desperate for their attention, if you know what I mean. We find a level of confidence in ourselves. Anyway, and he says in the little part that I was able to read and review, getting to that, making that passage from loneliness to solitude can be very painful, because it means really going through our loneliness and facing our loneliness and our restlessness and our, where we feel alone, I guess, or unloved, and going into the desert, and with that. And so much of it is kind of dying and rising stuff. Are we willing to just kind of be alone, feel the pain of being alone, feel our incompleteness, and not just rush to fill it with Cheetos or another person or whatever. Come to grips with the fact, I forget who said it, was that all of our symphonies are incomplete, that we're not meant to be complete or totally full. Come to some level of peace with our incompleteness, and that it's okay and that it's good. And I don't like doing that. I guess I've done it. That's maybe why I like to go on retreats, because it's kind of a safe place to do that. But on a day-to-day level, like, I know I get in the car sometimes, and I think it aggravates my mom and others when I call, because not just that I call, but I'll call, then they hear toot, 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 because I maybe forgot to put my seatbelt on, and I get in the car and I don't know, I just call somebody right away, because I'm restless. I want to feel kind of, versus just taking a breath and saying, it's okay to be alone. It's okay to have this space of being alone and being grateful for life. Maybe saying a short prayer, being grateful for friends, and then more out of a sense of fullness, give a friend a call, something like that. I don't know if any of this is kind of making sense. It's very, very maybe a little hard to define, but I think it's just so important. Coming to grips with the fact that we're alone and we have these lives that we can donate to others, that we can join the human community and really give ourselves to spouses, to children, to friends, but out of a sense of fullness, right? And that's why it's such a spiritual question, because where do we get that sense of fullness? Part of it is just trusting, I guess, in our aloneness and going into the desert and living with that and waiting to be lifted, and praying and being confident that this God who raised Jesus from the dead will raise us, our spirits, and won't leave us abandoned. So if I get any sharper insights or I can quote something a little more concisely, I'll do that. So maybe that's it for today. I'm trying to think what else is going on in the parish. Anne is on camping with her American Heritage girls this week, so the business end of our parish is kind of shut down for a week. But Christine and I are pretty much around. Jackie was in yesterday, and tonight we're going to have a reconciliation service on the grass. I've been sort of promoting that. I don't know how well word has got out into the community. I'm here partly because Mike and Sharon helped me get directions. I go, where's Big Falls? I heard about it. So they told me how to go. And then after the burial, I went to Aldi, and then I saw another Sharon, comes to church to St. James sometimes, and she said, hey, Father, I'm looking forward to coming to reconciliation service tomorrow night. And I said, well, you can come, but no one will be there because it's tonight. And she said, no, it's Thursday. I go, well, no, it's 7/7 at 7, and that's today. So she's going to miss it. She said she's having friends over. I told her to bring the friends over for confession and stuff. What better experience could they have than forgiveness? She said, yeah, I think they're looking to eat. I said, okay, fair enough, you know. It is 7/7. That happens to be my sister's birthday. My sister was born in 1953, and she died in 1973. So let me do the math. I was talking to my mom today about it. Today's Anne's birthday. So 5303, that's 50 plus 18, 68. I mean, so she died when she was 20, and I was a little rugrat. I was 9. And so I always think of her as a college student age. To think of Anne as 68 years old is kind of mind-blowing. Who knows what the eternal life is like if we look like anything, or if we just know each other's presence. But I think she'd be pretty cool. She was a pretty cool big sister when I was a tyke. Big cookies with me, took me up Rib Mountain on hikes and all kinds of stuff. I think I remembered her companionship when I was by that grass field a few weeks ago on the chat. So to think of her being 68 years old, and she probably would have married, kids and all those things, who knows. But she played the piano. There's a lot of unfulfilled things in life, a lot of losses that we do or wonder what might have been or what could have been. And it's okay to think about that for a while and grieve. And then to trust God. That, I don't know how people say it, things have a reason, and whether they have a reason or not, things happen the way they did. And we're called to trust that we're here for a reason. We're here to live a good, full life. People that have loved us and touched us, who've gone before us, can be grateful for that, can feel the communion of that. But, yeah, I think maybe I told you once I was talking to my brother, my oldest brother. I said, do you ever get mad that Anne died? And it'd be nice to have a big sister, wouldn't it? Because she was the oldest in the family. And he said, I never hear him philosophize too much, you know. He's kind of a practical guy, good guy, very kind man. And but he said, yeah, I guess. He said, yeah, I guess. This was at Christmas time, you know, many years after Anne died, 30 years maybe. And he said, yeah, I guess so. But then I think, you know, I got 2 really great parents, and I got 2 great brothers, and I'm thankful for that. And that's all he said. And you know, that's very good, isn't it? Very meaningful. Good to have someone like that on your journey, a brother, rather than just thinking it would be nice to have a sister, and not noticing the great brother right across the room from me, you know. So life is definitely a series of losses and gains and hardships and blessings. And we have to decide where to focus, I guess, and where we're going to draw our strength and what we're going to do with the days that we have. So from this beautiful place in east of Eau Claire, the Eau Claire River, Big Falls. I think I'll just step aside and let you ponder if you're where you're at with loneliness versus solitude, if you're comfortable in your own skin, if you can feel God's strength, you can give yourself away, if you feel your communion with those who've gone before you and who've died, and you can feel the strength of their lives and the blessing of their love in your life. And with that, I'll just move aside here and say God bless you, and we'll chat again. Bye now.